Welcome to the commission meeting for April 22nd, 2025. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. McGill, can you get us rolling? Roll call.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Commissioner Flynn.
Present.
Commissioner Siegler.
Here.
Commissioner Silverman.
Here.
Commissioner Swager Wilson.
Present.
Commissioner Grella.
Here.
Okay, I'll do a review of the discussion session topics. Earlier tonight, Commission met in discussion session, received information and discussed the following items. We heard a review of the process to update the zoning ordinance and our subdivision and land development ordinance. We'll issue an RFP shortly for that work and begin it in 2025. We received information regarding the sizing of the 2025 bond issue and reviewed some of the projects to be included. We also heard a presentation regarding the Woodland Sidewalk Expansion Project, the bid received, the timing and next steps, and we heard updates on activities of various boards from their commission liaisons. Prior to that meeting, the commission met in executive session to receive legal advice from the solicitor on a variety of topics. The next regular meeting of the commission will be held on Tuesday, May 13th. That meeting will begin at 8 p.m. in this room. Here are the ways the public can participate, either in person, you don't need to pre-register, simply show up at the appropriate meeting time, or remotely via the Zoom webinar format. Again, no need to pre-register, simply click the link located on the meeting agenda on the municipal website. If you wish to speak during citizens' comments or during public hearings, simply use the raise hand feature on Zoom and you'll be notified when it is your turn to speak. That is all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Siegler.
Thank you, Mr. President. Come to a public open house to learn about possible ideas for Activate Uptown, Mount Lebanon's newest plan for your Washington Road Main Street. Join us on Tuesday, April 29th, anytime between 6 and 8 p.m. in the Howard Hanna Conference Room, 701 Washington Road. We want your input on improvements to the public spaces in Uptown. Applications are now available for junior commissioner and junior board member for the 2025-26 school year. High school students in these positions serve as liaisons between the municipality and their schools. Go to mountlebanon.org/junior commissioner for eligibility requirements and details. Simply fill out the application and forward a letter of recommendation to apply. Applications aren't due until July, but it can be challenging to get out a letter of recommendation after school is out, so you may want to think ahead. A reminder that Mount Lebanon's Tree City USA ceremony will be held Friday at Hoover Elementary at 2:30 p.m., and Mount Lebanon will celebrate Earth Day on Sunday in Mount Lebanon Park from 11 to 3. The Mount Lebanon High School Percussion Ensemble is gearing up for its spring concerts May 15th through the 17th with 100 percussionists in grades 4 through 12. Tickets always sell out fast to these amazing performances, so if you're interested, act now by going to mtlpercussion.com/tickets. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's move over to citizens' comments. Why don't we check online? Nick? Anyone for
Sorry,
comments?
there's nobody online.
All right, thanks. In the room, we have Colonel Hoon. Citizens' comments, you're up. I just want to make sure we skip her. She's right.
Bill Hoon, 456 Coolidge Avenue. You know what I'm here to talk about, and I'm sure most of you, if you've been paying attention and attending meetings, have some idea of some of the things that I mentioned. The deer issue started in 2004. It was brought up by one person, only one. And she made some claims. She started with the deer spreading Lyme's disease throughout the township, which is totally false. They don't carry Lyme's disease. When that was pointed out to her, with testimony from the Allegheny County Health Department, immediately dropped. Next item was too many deer in Mount Lebanon. Well, a member of the audience who wasn't me pressed the commission on that, and turned out nobody had a clue as to how many deer there were in Mount Lebanon. So, oh, and we have a deer herd in Mount Lebanon. That was the other item that she brought up. Nobody's ever had a deer herd because deer don't live in herds. They live in family groups dominated by an adult female. Okay, so the commission went ahead on the basis of all this, which was false, and nobody looked it up and nobody cared. And they hunted up some people to kill this massive herd of deer. Well, that turned out to be the USDA wildlife killers. If you all know anything about the USDA wildlife team, all they do is kill wildlife. In this area, they've killed deer, they've killed geese over on the north side. They'll kill anything that a community wants, which is exactly what Barbara Logan wanted. Somebody that didn't ask questions, very efficient, came in, did all the killing, left town. Well, they did that, collected a big check, and then they came back the next year because the deer were still here. That was rather perplexing for our commissioners. They couldn't understand. We have a deer herd, and these guys came in and killed hundreds of deer, and yet we have deer. Okay, so the commission said, okay, do it again. Kill even more, any way you want to do it. Well, it was baited stations. They shot them in the night when they were moving the most. They went everywhere they could, and they killed over 100 deer. Barbara Logan was ecstatic. But they also noticed that the deer in Mount Lebanon, we didn't have a herd, of course. Nobody has a herd. But the deer that were coming into Mount Lebanon came from Castle Shannon, Upper St. Clair, Scott, all the area, all around the area. And Craig B. Swoopy, the guy that was in charge of these USDA killers, said we've got to have more area to kill deer. They wanted to kill deer, every residence, schools, church property, everywhere. They couldn't exclude anything or it wasn't going to work. This is what Craig B. said. Well, the commission mulled it around a little bit, I guess, and they said, can't do that. Can't invade private property. Can't go on church property. Cannot be shooting at the schools. That's ridiculous. So Craig B. said, you have to have a team here 24/7, 365 days a week, going around in our vehicles, killing them wherever we see them. Not going to happen. They didn't come back. All right, so we finally did a count to determine how many we had, and we came up with 225 the first year. We counted 200 the second year. Not what the commission expected, especially the drop. Well, there's 34,000 people in this township, and each one of you is bigger than an adult deer. I'm 150 pounds. I'm bigger than an adult deer. So, you know, and people are afraid of this 200 deer. What? I'll be back.
Thank you, Dr. Hoon. Anybody else? Public comment? Come on down.
Dave Egler, come on down.
Dave Eckler, 121 Poplar Drive. Really wasn't prepared to speak this evening, so I'll try to make this short. Item number 7, once again, this is that conditional use for that garage on Castle Shannon Boulevard. I don't know if anybody really saw that garage. It's very unusual. It's a very high garage, underground, kind of in the back. And then internally, you go upstairs into a little building. Is that little building going to be made like I'll say an office or a beauty something? It looks like it's being prepared for somebody to move in. I'm talking about the little building on top. It's detached. On that detached garage, you got a little building on top, and then the main garage is underneath the parking area down below, but up above, there's a little building there that it looks like they put a new window in.
Is that the 484 square foot garage that's the conditional use? I think that's the conditional use.
I was
I
gonna
think
say,
he's asking about what's above that garage that we're being asked to approve tonight.
Oh, yeah, the warehousing self-storage use.
Yeah.
What they want to use it for?
is that, well, that's what I'm wondering. It looks like they're fixing it up to be maybe a little bit of a storefront type thing. I'm not sure. It's not that big. They could have another, it looks like there's different buildings for a salon and different things like that. And I'm just thinking they're doing another building up top. And then it is very odd that the garage area is down below underneath, which nobody would ever see unless we went back there.
Let me look at the plans real quick and I'll
Okay, while you're doing that, I guess my other questions are, it mentions about seeking permission to use it as storage and such. Wasn't the previous owner, wasn't that the use of it for the previous owner? I'm just kind of curious, or did they not get permission from way back?
Previous owner was the IVN.
Right, but did they use, what were they using that for? Wasn't it used for storage and such?
Wasn't used for anything for a long period of time unless they were still storing equipment for use in the bar in there at one point in time.
I'm just wondering why they'd have to go through this process. To me, it seems,
Because the requirements of the zoning ordinance say that if you're going to use that as a separate use for warehousing or storage, you need to go through that. Now, remember, the IVN there was there for a good period of time.
right.
So that requirement probably came into place after the point in time that the
Okay,
IV was there.
you've answered my question then. So they weren't required at the time. Okay, that's good. Thank you for that information. The only other thing, I guess, question concern, Mount Lebanon has somewhat of a reputation being very difficult to get things through the process, that the process is long, laborious, a lot of hoops you have to jump through. To me, this seemed like a very simple thing. I mean, the planning board, our engineer spoke for a couple minutes explaining it to everybody. The planning board spent about 1 minute discussing it, and they approved it. Seemed like no issue, no problem. After that, then they have to come before this board, which, okay, I get that, you have to formally approve it. But you have a meeting where you have public comments, which only one gentleman spoke at and was okay with it. And we went through that, and then you have to wait another 2 or potentially 3 weeks for the official approval. I'm just thinking to speed up the process, if there's nobody objecting at all and everything's going through smoothly, why do we make the owner wait anywhere from a month to 2 months to get moving in the process? Couldn't we just have the public hearing and then the next agenda item, the approval? I know we've done that in the past on certain items.
We've typically tried to stay away from that and develop a consistent process so that all applications are treated the same, so that we are not picking and choosing which ones we move forward quicker, which ones move forward a little bit more slowly. So again, I can only speak for the time frame when I worked in the position as municipal planner. We typically had done those at separate meetings unless there was some, I'll say, reason
To
to
move it faster,
forward.
and I take it that the owner did not have a need to move it up sooner?
There's no urgency here for the owner.
Okay, I was just concerned at that, because like I said, I know in some cases where we've had to move things up, we've done both in the same evening. And as long as nobody's objecting to anything, I can understand if there's objections on one side or the other, I can understand the time, but in this case, there was no objection, so just my concerns. Okay, thank you very much. I'll give back my 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, as Ian McLean's municipal planner, as I stated in response to Mr. Aguilar, but I'll say it now so the microphone can hear me. The building he's referencing that is on the upper part of the parcel adjacent to the J-Lab Beauty building is the one that's the 484 square foot building proposed as the conditional use for warehousing and self-storage. When J-Lab Beauty came into this property, they purchased it from the IVN. There's actually 2 parcels there, and they came and did a subdivision plan and consolidated the 2 parcels into one. And then by doing that, when they opened their business as the beauty salon, the whole property, then that became the use for it. In our zoning code, warehousing and self-storage is defined as a conditional use. So to use that separate structure for warehousing and self-storage, and the proposal for that is that the self-storage use is not for supplies for the beauty salon, it's for a separate entity. Correct, Commissioner Grell is correct, yes. So that's why they needed to come through the conditional use process. If it had been storage as an accessory to their beauty salon, then that would have been different by the defined terms in our zoning code. And then just as one other follow-up to what Mr. Egler asked about timelines, the municipality's planning code has very strict definitions of when you have to post a public hearing, have a public hearing, things like that. So a lot of times, based on when the planning board makes a recommendation, because it has to go to the planning board first based on our municipal code, goes to the planning board makes a recommendation, then you have to have the property posted so many days in advance of a public hearing. So sometimes that plays into when it can actually get in front of the commission, because you have to post notifications on the property, you have to post them in a newspaper of general circulation, and so on and so forth. So the rules of the municipality's planning code really dictate a lot of the timeline.
One other question, I would assume, perhaps incorrectly, that when we have approvals like this, that inspections actually checks it out to make sure that the actual use is what the permitted use is.
Yes.
Thanks. Thank you. Great, all right, well, we are now joined by our junior commissioner. We'll jump back to that update.
Thank you so much. Sorry, had some Zoom issues, but we got there. Thank you, and I hope everyone's doing well. At the end of the school year just keeps getting closer, so please make sure you're keeping an eye on your emails so that you can get any notifications about seniors, our upcoming finals. Our very popular band program is back with another concert. The 41st Evening of Percussion concert is coming up on Friday, May 16th, with 2 Saturday concerts following. These concerts will include members of the band from 4th to 12th grade. Tickets to band concerts sell out very fast, and I believe they're almost gone, so make sure to grab them while you can. In less fun news, the SAT, ACT, and AP tests are all here. So please make sure that your juniors are getting in their SAT and ACT if desired before college applications open in August. And the AP tests start in only 2 weeks. So make sure that your student is aware of when their AP test is so they can arrive at a timely manner in order to be able to take it, because they do not allow any delays now that they are online. So we cannot hold it up. The test has to begin at 8 or 12, depending on which test you are taking. Students 16 years and older for the Junior Class Council is holding the last blood drive of the year. In February, we had 38 students join, and this time the goal is 50 students donating. So we're trying to fill a heart. So please, any eligible students will receive a raffle ticket for a chance to win cupcakes and a pizza party for 6. So please stop by to the Applied Engineering Lab for permission slips. And if you cannot donate but still want to volunteer, there is a QR code available on the high school's website. Lastly, dance company auditions will be held May 14th. Dance company is one of our long-standing teams at the high school. It's always lovely to see them perform. So any dancers that want to join the team should attend one of the mandatory meeting review expectations and learn a short combination. Meetings and auditions will be held in the dance studio D105 at 1 p.m. on May 5th and 7th. Any dancer who wishes to audition should pick up an audition letter in the dance studio and direct questions to Ms. Teenan or an email at mteenan@mtlstudents.net. That's all I have for tonight. I hope you have a wonderful night, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Commissioners? Pizza party and cupcake party for 6 for blood drive. It's 5 of us. Thank you. All right, item number 4, Commissioner Silverman, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration of the minutes for the regular meeting held April 8th, 2025. I move to approve the minutes.
A second?
Any questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Commissioner Siegler, item number 5, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Appointments to municipal boards. I move to appoint Aaron Risden of Williamsburg Road to the Financial Management Board, term expiring 3/31/27, and Elaine Avosevich Lozada of Royce Avenue to the Resiliency Board with an appointment expiring on March 31st, 2027.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments on the board appointments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you to those residents for joining our boards. Commissioner Flynn, item number 6, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration of resolution number R-2-25 for a sidewalk assessment program for municipal sidewalks. This resolution is for the replacement of deteriorated sidewalks on the following streets. They're on your screen. Oh, no, they're not. Altadena, Arrowwood, Austin, Bower Hill, Clemson, Crescent, Duquesne, Furwood, Foxland, Gilkison, Inglewood, Iroquois, Larchdale, Linda, Long Ridge, Markham, Mayfair, McCully, Mohawk, Oak Park, Old Hickory, Parkview, Pen Oak, Purchase Place, Rob Hollow, Ruth, Salem, Seminole, Sweet Gum, Vernon, Washington Road, and Woodhaven Drive. This resolution orders the replacement of deteriorated sidewalks by property owners, or the municipality will cause the work to be done and invoice the owners. Mr. President, I move to adopt resolution number R-2-25.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments?
Just a point for, anybody listening, this is not a one-off. It was 2 years ago, this work like this was done in the Commissioner's
Ward 3.
or third ward. So just for someone who's going, why us? Just we take turns going through. This municipality just happens to be these streets here.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Commissioner Swoggle Wilson, item number 7, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is consideration of conditional use decision for 360 Castle Shannon Boulevard for use as warehouse self-storage. J Lab Beauty is requesting conditional use approval for a property located at 360 Castle Shannon Boulevard. The applicant is seeking to use an existing detached garage for warehousing self-storage. No structural changes to the property are proposed. The property is zoned C2 Commercial District, Chapter 20 of the Mount Lebanon Code zoning section 303.3.14 identifies warehousing self-storage as a conditional use in the C2 district. The planning board recommended approval of the conditional use request on March 18th, 2025. The conditional use request was introduced by the commission at the March 25th, 2025 meeting, and a public hearing was held at the April 8th, 2025 commission meeting. I move to approve the conditional use decision for 360 Castle Shannon Boulevard for use of the existing 484 square foot detached garage structure as warehousing self-storage.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Commissioner Silverman, item number 8, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration for the award of the pool filtration replacement contract rebid. Bids are received on March 5th, 2025 for the Mount Lebanon Pool Filtration Replacement Contract rebid. This project involves demolition and replacement of the pool filtration system and items associated with the system. In addition, there are 2 add alternate items and 1 deduct alternate item. The bids have been verified by the municipal engineer as follows, and looks like they're on the board there to my right and the audience's left. Municipal engineer has reviewed the bids and determined the low bid to be accurate. Municipal engineer recommends the project be awarded to Shiloh Industrial Contractors, Inc. Gateway Engineers contacted the contractor's references, sub-consultants, and the manufacturer of the pool filtration system to confirm the contractor's capabilities. The engineer's estimate for this work is approximately $1.4 million, and the project will be paid for from the municipal bond to be issued in 2025. Mr. President, I move to award the Mount Lebanon Pool Filtration Replacement Contract rebid contract to Shiloh Industrial Contractors Incorporated in the amount of $1,321,300 for the base bid, subject to the approval of the manager and the solicitor of the agreement.
I'd like to second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or comments? I just want to say this is hopefully the end of some long-time issues we've been having at the pool. This is a resource, an asset of ours that often we have close to 1,000, sometimes more than 1,000 people attending on a daily basis.
Over 2,000.
Or 2,000 on a daily basis. So it's a project that we're expending some money on, but it's an important one and will hopefully allow us to solve some issues that we've had with the pool in the last, couple of years or so, which is good.
Just so the public's aware, this project will actually begin at the conclusion of this pool season. So it will be in place for the 2026 season.
Thank you much. Any other questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Commissioner Siegler, item number 9, please.
Mr. President, consideration for the purchase of traffic signal control equipment. The commission approved the award of a contract with Bronder Technical Services, Inc. on February 24th, 2025 to upgrade pedestrian signal equipment at various intersections along Washington Road and Cochran Road. This project is partially funded through a Green Light Go grant from PennDOT and a local match through the general fund. The budget for the project was set at $612,600. Due to the receipt of favorable bids, there is a capacity to include additional equipment that will upgrade control equipment at 30 signalized intersections. The cost to upgrade the controllers to Econolite Cobalt controllers and certified MMU conflict monitors is $153,468. A quote was provided by Pathmaster, Inc. to provide this equipment with pricing based on a current contract held with the state of Ohio. PennDOT has approved the additional costs and will include the upgrades as part of the existing Green Light Go grant. The additional cost will result in a total project cost of $412,093, with the municipal share of 20% of the project. Mr. President, I move to award the purchase of 29 Econolite Cobalt traffic units, 5 16-channel MMU conflict monitors, and 25 12-channel MMU conflict monitors from Pathmaster, Inc. at a total cost of $153,468,000.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or comments?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Flynn, item number 10, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration for the award of the 2025 Street Maintenance Program. Bids were received on March 26, 2025, for the 2025 street maintenance contract. The project includes rotomilling of existing pavement and resurfacing with bituminous materials to various depths on streets throughout the municipality. The following is a list of the base bid streets. Beverly Road from Marlin East to Marlin Drive West, Catalpa Place from Parkside Avenue to Richland Road, Cedar Boulevard from Morgan Drive to Holly Crest Drive, Lindendale Drive from Kurt to 1022 Lindendale, North Meadowcroft Avenue from Ken Forest Drive to Twin Hills Drive, Oxford Boulevard from Worcester Drive to Pembroke Drive, Sleepy Hollow Road from Richland Road to Valley Park Drive, and Woodland Drive from Wainwright Drive to Vermont Avenue. The following streets were considered as alternates for mill and overlay: Bafferton Drive and Old Farm Road, Bower Alley, Cedar Boulevard, Larchdale Drive, Ruth Street, St. Clair Drive, utility patch repairs, Sleepy Hollow to Highview, Cochran to Altoona, Lindendale to 1083 Cedar Arrowwood to Pinewood, Pin Oak to Linda, the entire road. The municipal engineer has verified the bids as presented on the screen or in the agenda. Then the municipal engineer has reviewed the bids and determined the low bid to be accurate. The engineer recommends the award of the base bid, alternate 1, Bafferton Drive and Old Farm Road, alternate 3, Cedar, alternate 6, St. Clair Drive, and alternate 7, utility repairs, to Melly and Sons, Inc., in the amount of $632,939.25.
The contractor has completed similar work with Mount Lebanon and other communities in a satisfactory manner. The budgeted amount for this contract is $654,210, and the engineer's estimate for the proposed award was $703,150. The project will be funded through the transportation portion of the operating budget, and the utility patchwork will be funded through the sanitary sewer fund. Mr. President, I move to award the 2025 street maintenance contract to Mele Mele and Sons for base bid, alternate 1, Brafton Drive and Old Farm Road, alternate 3, Cedar Boulevard, alternate 6, St. Clair Drive, and alternate 7, utility repairs to Mele Mele and Sons, Incorporated, in the total amount of $632,939.25.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? I'll say real quick, I do get a lot of comments about, from residents in the Fourth Ward about where road construction is happening. It's very easy to find on the website now. If you just go to that little icon for search on the top of the website, all you have to do is type the word road, and it will come up. All of the roads are listed. All the roads that are under construction or will be under construction are listed. And there's also an interactive map there, which also lists the approximate, not exact, but approximate dates of the construction. So for those in our vast viewing audience here who want to know where construction is happening, search on the website. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Commissioner Swager-Wilson, item number 11, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is consideration for the award of the 2025 Street Reconstruction Program. Bids were received on March 26, 2025 for the 2025 Street Reconstruction Project Contract. The following is a listing of the base bid streets: Craig Court, Anawanda Avenue to Cul-de-sac, Crystal Drive, Gypsy Lane to Castle Shannon Boulevard, Helen Drive, Theoden to Dollar General Driveway, Old Hickory Road, Pin Oak Road to 904 Old Hickory Road, Ordale Boulevard, 1480 Washington Road to Cherokee Island. The following streets were considered as alternates for reconstruction: Austin Avenue, Bower Hill to Terrace View, Batten Way, Baywood to Magnolia, Eisenhower Drive, 829 Eisenhower Drive to Ridgeview Drive, Peyton Drive, Sandray Drive to Pat Haven, Pembroke Drive, Moreland Drive to Clemson Drive, Pin Oak Road, Sweet Arm Road to Moffett Street. The bids were received and verified as follows. You gonna come up? Okay, well, I guess I should read these, huh? Yep. Total base bid. Nenando Construction, $1,833,323.85. That was for total base bid. Their total alternate was for the alternate bid was $1,110,304.25 for a total bid of $2,943,628.10. A Felino Construction bid for the base bid, $2,275,413. For the alternate bid, $1,595,879.50, for a total bid of $3,871,292.50. The bid documents allow for the award of any combination of base and alternate bids. The engineer recommends the award as listed in the recommended action with the impact of the recommended award between the two contractors as follows. Total base bid awarded, Neando, Construction, Inc., $1,833,323.85. A Felino, $2,275,413. Total of alternate bids, $561,401.50 for Neando, and $795,149.50 for A Felino. Contract total for Neando is $2,394,725.35. And for A Felino, it is $3,070,562.50. Neando Construction, Inc. has successfully completed the reconstruction project in the past, and the municipal engineer recommends this award. The engineer's estimate for the recommended award was $2,435,400, which is above what the actual bid came in. Recommended streets will be funded through various sources as follows. Capital Improvement Street Fund, from the PID amounts of $1,509,434.10, with an engineer's estimate of $1,501,800, and a budget of $1,650,000. From the Sanitary Fund to the tune of $13,860,000. Engineer's estimate was $15,000, and the budget was $37,260. From the Stormwater Fund for the curbs, the bid amount was $604,900. Engineer's estimate was $667,850. The budgeted amount was $625,000. From the Stormwater Fund for the stormwater improvements, bid amount was $266,531.25. The engineer's estimate was $250,750, and the budget was $325,031.25. Totals. Total bid amounts, $2,394,725.35. The engineer's estimate for the work was $2,435,400, and the budgeted amount was $2,637,291.25. I move to award the 2025 street reconstruction contract to Neando Construction as follows. Craig Court, Crystal Drive, Helen Drive, Old Hickory Road, Oredale Boulevard, Craig Court, alternate Crystal Drive, alternate Old Hickory, alternate Oredale Boulevard, alternate Eisenhower Drive, alternate Pin Oak, alternate, and Pin Oak alternate drainage to Neando Construction in the total amount of $2,394,725.35.
Second.
Any questions or comments?
Wow, well read, yes.
I'd like to ask Commissioner Swagger Wilson to repeat that if she would.
Jeez. Good thing I was a banker, right? I can read all those numbers. Look at this going, you gotta be kidding me.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Commissioner Smuckers. Commissioner Silverman, item number 12, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Consideration of the expenditure list for March totaling $3,381,109.58. I move to approve the expenditure list for March totaling $3,381,109.58.
I second.
Anyone have any questions on the expenditure list? Nope. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Commissioner Siegler.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we accept the departmental reports.
They shall be filed. Thank you. We are adjourned.